What's up, guys? I'm here to tell you why I switched to Fuji, and why it doesn't matter for you or me or anyone. So when it comes down to cameras, I think any modern camera you get these days, it's going to be amazing. You're going to be able to get amazing shots with it. So with that said, I think it really comes down to what camera brands, bodies, and files make the most sense for you. So for me, when I picked up a Sony camera, to me, it just kind of killed the joy of shooting for me because it was too technical and you had to go through menus to get to everything. And when you pick up the Fuji, it's truly like a photographer's camera and videographer too. I actually love shooting video on this. But yeah, it's truly like a photographer's camera. You have, I believe this is how it should be. You know, we should have our knobs on here and your aperture on the lens. To me, it just makes sense to have all that there. And all the technical stuff is in the menus where you don't have to go to as much. And then you also have custom buttons too. But yeah, so that leads me into the first reason why I switched to Fuji. So when I picked up the Sony again, it was too technical, it didn't make sense to me. I felt like it kind of killed it was like a buzzkill to me. And then when I picked up the Fuji, having physical knobs on here for the ISO, the shutter speed, and the aperture being on the lenses just made sense. It seemed so fun to shoot with, and it inspired me to shoot more. It wasn't like I was going out to work and I had my big DSLR. It was like I get to go shoot and I get to go have fun, you know? It's fun to shoot with these. It's pretty much like an old film camera. And yeah, it's like beautiful looking, the aesthetic looks cool. But yeah, it could be like the most ugliest looking camera, but the fact that the layout's like this, that's what I really love about it. So my second reason is it's a bang for your buck. I would compare the files to my 6D, and I compare it in low light and daylight, and the dynamic range was way better on this thing, and the sharpness was actually better, because with the Canon at the time, I couldn't afford like L series glass. I could only afford like their more budgeted options. And so with this, like the first lens I got was a 35mm f2. And I think I only paid like $300 or $350 for that used. And that's like one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used. I wasn't used to that sharpness. I would add like extra grain on top of it because I was like, I don't like it this sharp. But yeah, so everything's just way more cheaper, and not in a bad way. I know cheaper is like a dangerous word to use, but it's more affordable. I mean, that's kind of a dangerous word to use too. Yeah, so to me, compared to when I was shooting the Canon, my work looks way better. And it's not only because the files are better in this, but it's because when I'm shooting, I feel more creative when I'm shooting with this, again, because it's like a true camera with your knobs being available there for your main adjustments. And also like all the new Canons and Nikons that are coming out, and how they're choking the specs on them, so you go and get their more expensive camera. Fuji doesn't do that. Like pretty much all their cameras, so like all the X2, X-T20, X Pro 2, X-H1, they all have pretty much the same specs inside. It comes down, I mean, there's a few different things, but the guts and the inside are pretty much the same. And with that, it comes down to what body works best for you, what camera body works best for you. It's not about trying to get you to upgrade to the best specs you can get and everything. I believe in the format that this brand's using. So, and that leads me into my third point. I trust this brand. There's lots of forums online and people that will complain about a certain thing, and next thing you know, there's a firmware update that fixed that issue. You know, like you check out again the bigger brands, and they're calling the shots. But for Fujifilm, I feel like their customers are calling the shots. They tell them what they want or what they don't like, and they fix it. Hopefully they stay like that as the camera brand continues to grow. Hopefully they stick to those roots of really listening to the customer and not kind of like leading it all off the rail. Yeah, and they're constantly pushing these cameras with firmware updates. I remember when I first got my X-T2, I didn't have 120 frames per second, I didn't have F-Log or any of that. Next thing you know, there's a firmware update coming out for it, and I've been showing my video work on that. But yeah, now I got the X-T3 and it comes with it, and the menu system's a little more easy to work with that too. But yeah, so that's like the main points that I switched to Fujifilm gear. And yeah, I just got the X-T3, and again, image quality wise, to me, it's not a huge difference between the X-T2, but the focusing and having a new body to beat up that's not already all beat up is worth upgrading me. And again, it's only $1,500. You could put like a full frame Canon Nikon in my hand and I won't be inspired as much to shoot. Like, yeah, I'll get the shot, but the files on this, their color profiles, I use them a lot. And when I'm shooting with this, it just, I don't know, it puts me into a photographer's mindset. I know it sounds stupid, but I don't know, that's what it does to me. And then Sony, I love Sony's too. I think their image quality is amazing, but their colors for me, I don't care about the colors too much. And the main thing is I don't like the bodies on them. Like they're not fun to shoot with. I want to have fun when I'm shooting, especially when I'm working, because when you start transitioning to working more as a photographer, it starts to become a little bit of a joy kill because you start doing projects that aren't your main passion sometimes. If your gear's not helping you like streamline that, you're gonna get burnt out. So yeah, with this, I don't know, so happy with this. Yeah, I don't mean to sound like a Fuji fanboy, but guess you call me one. Call me whatever you want. There you guys, you can check out my Instagram. You can leave a comment here if you want to leave some hate. If you got any questions about the Fuji stuff, you can DM me on Instagram too. But yeah, I gotta go shoot in the desert again with my buddy Dante. So yeah, peace.